was probably a vice president at some point in your past.
I know Arctic Explorer is right up there.
Wow.
Arctic Explorer, radio DJ over in Acadia National Park. He sat on the mountain. Apparently he is a weird dude.
That's awesome.
Maybe just a reincarnation of one of my relatives.
Maybe. I don't know.
Born to the wrong family. Born into the wrong family.
It's a funny way of looking at it.
Well, how else are you supposed to look at it? I grabbed the duck piece, by the way.
Oh, I'm glad you thought of that.
And we forgot the megaphone.
Of course. That's fine. We'll have it for the next one. My voice is plenty loud enough to be able to carry across that space. You want your soda?
Not right now. Okay.
Extra. I'll just leave it right here for you whenever you're ready.
Okay. We'll do the raffle tomorrow.
Yep.
We got 100 in the car, so here's my thinking. One of the ducks there, we'll mark one of them with a marker or something. One of the ducks has a mark on it, and if you win, that you get $100.
Okay. We'll double check with the director to make sure that's okay, but assuming that they say it's fine, then we should be good to go.
Anyone else who donates gets, for every $1 you donate, you get 2 tea bags.
There we go.
And, so, they donate $1. And if someone donates $100, then we get $100.
Correct.
Because who doesn't want to win money? Or we could do $50.
I think that 50 could work. I'll leave it up to you. You've done this before and I haven't, so
yeah.
Whatever you think is best is what we'll do.
Absolutely. Usually it's a 3-tiered prize of like 25. Oh, you brought the gift cards, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Like I said, if you don't want to give them out, then what we'll do is we'll just have the box there for, these are the ones that people have donated.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, we don't want people walking away with this and then later having a bad impression, because that will backfire.
Correct.
So we don't want to scam anyone.
No. The goal is not to scam. The goal is to help people.
You guys need to pull over if you get tired, though.
Yeah, he has a night job, so this is like morning for him.
This is...
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
This is basically like 10 o'clock in the morning for me.
Right.
Okay, well, good deal. So, I have all the questions.
I'm sure you do.
We have all the answers.
Okay, great. So, Netflix, Mr. Beast, why are they quoted?
Why are they quoted?
Yeah, like in the description of your trailer video.
Advertising and marketing.
No, he already announced that he was running, remember?
But
Yeah.
it was what?
So, okay. Mr. Beast announced about 6 months ago that he plans on running for president, so I'm running against him as the opposite candidate.
Yes.
President for what?
President of the United States.
Wait, you're gonna run for president?
I'm
Well,
already registered with the FEC.
I think we have to dial this back several months.
I'm more than happy to. I'm just answering the question that she had.
Okay.
Fascinating. Okay, well, why is Netflix excluded?
Why is Netflix what?
Like, why did you put Netflix, include them in the video and then below, in the description of the video?
Because we want Netflix to see it, and we want Netflix to respond, one way or the other.
You don't think there'll be a copyright thing since you used their title stuff in the...
If there is a copyright issue, we have a clean version without the Netflix logos and everything.
Well, that's
So
not the
if
issue.
Netflix-
Wouldn't they just, like, sue you for using their stuff and then for saying that it's a Netflix series?
We don't think they will sue us just because Netflix has already gone on record and they generally don't attack people as hard as they could.
May I speak, please? Thank you.
I'm explaining
Darling,
what's
your
going on.
explanation is incorrect. May I talk, please?
Hun,
Your explanation is incorrect. May I talk, please?
why do you keep putting me down like this?
It's not my intention to put you
You
down, my
put me
dear.
down every time.
It's not my intention to put you down, my dear. I am letting you know that the information that you are relaying to Sophie is incorrect.
Okay. Then you explain.
Thank you. Okay. So, in 99.9% of cases with copyright, the first thing that somebody will do is send a cease and desist letter. As soon as we receive that letter, we will remove any copyright information related to Netflix. So, the fact is that, it's the same way that when people post a fan-made Nintendo game, for example, they, if they receive a letter from Netflix, they have to take a letter from Nintendo, then they have to take down the game that they've created because it has Nintendo's intellectual property. But until they receive that letter, they are not legally required to take it down.
That makes sense. I would like to make the point that I'm not sure how well you were listening to Trey, but he basically just said that same thing. He was basically just said, it's not that big a deal, and if they're worried about it, they'll contact us. But they don't really care because we're small. But you did give better legal terms. That is kind of risky, though. My boyfriend also thinks it's risky.
Yeah. I mean, it is a risky play, but when you're talking about something like becoming the president, there's not really non-risky ways to do it.
That's fair enough.
Well, just to let you know, if Netflix shows that, or can somehow prove, or get the jury to agree that you did it willingly as a copyright, they will rule against you.
I probably think it's more of a question of if you make money off your video, then they'll get mad against you. But for a trailer, I wouldn't worry about it. But in the back of your mind, just keep in mind that if you want to make money off something like this, be careful with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just to clarify, we're going to release the official trailer on the main channel. So the place that I linked you from is my side channel where I'm testing things out.
Cool.
My plan is to release the official trailer, and based on the feedback that I've received from various people, including Trey, including you, including Michael, just now, my thought is that it probably would be best to just release the trailer without the Netflix branding. Again, it is an experiment, and since one of the reasons why I did it is because the way that Netflix picks up specials is they will pick up something if enough people request it of Netflix. So if
I think you could leave Netflix in the description at the bottom, but I would take off the beginning and end where it has the Netflix logo, because then it kind of makes it feel like this is just a spoof video instead of something you're actually trying to make real. Does that make sense?
Okay, fair enough.
Like, the first time I watched it, Michael and I were talking, and so I missed the first, minute of it, and so I watched it, and I was like, oh, okay. And then at the end, I saw the Netflix thing, and I was like, what? That's weird. So then I watched it at the beginning, and I was like, yeah, that's weird. Because then it just makes it look spoofy, because then it made me want to Google to see if Netflix was involved, and I was like, well, they're not. That's kind of weird, so I guess it's just a spoof. Then, the actual thing itself, are you making a documentary, or is this the series on the radio that you'll talk about?
Both.
Both, okay, cool. Have you actually tried to talk to either of those people?
Yeah.
Has that gone well? Have you gotten a response from either of them?
I have a response from Majira. I am in the process of setting up an in-person interview with Kiro. That just hasn't been able to happen yet, primarily because of all the craziness that was happening earlier in the year. But I do have information on. I do have information about him, which I hope to lead to an in-person interview. If not, then I have more than enough information based on the conversations that he and I had a couple of years ago to be able to make a series about it.
Are you worried at all that this will make the kind of furry community look bad and will, kind of add fuel to the fire against the furry community?
Well, here's the thing with the furry community. There are a lot of individuals within it that see this stuff happening, and they just don't say anything. So, if the furry community looks bad, at the end of the day, they're not doing their due diligence. So, yeah, putting them on blast might, preferably kick them in the pants to do something, to be a little more diligent.
They won't, because if they do, then they get outed, and then there's a good chance that they will lose their job, because it is not an accepted thing all over the place. People do get fired for being in these types of communities. It will not get people to start doing it, because that is a hobby.
True.
It's something they love doing. It's a lifestyle, but it's still...
But you're not going to risk your job and kids over it.
And nobody will. But it will be bad for the community.
We have a lot of friends in the furry community, and although I reserve judgment and don't completely agree with Michael, I think he has a good point. This is going to be the reaction you're going to get from other people in the furry community. That what you make is going to hinder more than help. So are you prepared for that? So have you thought about that?
Massive backlash? Yeah, the furry fandom's gonna hate us.
Okay, then I guess that brings me up to more questions. I thought you liked being a furry, so why would you want the community to hate you?
No, I don't want them to hate us. The actions that we take are going to lead to hurt feelings.
Yeah, I agree, but my question still stands, and I think I want Neil to answer this. Basically, what you're doing does bring up some excellent, it is excellent points. I think you'll get views. I think it is something interesting that people would watch. But it also makes you sound like a douchebag and a kind of an asshole. Have you thought about that? Are you prepared for that reaction? I love you. You're my cousin, so I support you, so I don't care. But I just want to know, intellectually, have you thought that through?
Yeah, I've been working on this for 10 years. I've thought about it a lot. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Then you guys are prepared for the community to hate you guys.
They already hate me for multiple different reasons. This will amplify the hate, but not by very much.
Okay, I'm just making sure you thought that through.
Oh yeah, well aware.
So I have friends who are furries. So I am not okay doing something that would hurt them in any way.
Mm-hmm.
So I still want to see you tomorrow, and I don't mind coming and helping you set up a table. And I don't mind seeing you for dinner, but I can't do anything. I feel bad because I want to support you because you're my cousin, and I want to support you. But I don't think I can support your decision to do this because I don't know, morally, I don't like the idea of supporting, the idea of people hating you. Because I think the biggest reaction is you'll get a lot of backlash and people won't like you. And I don't know. I don't like the idea of helping my cousin look like an asshole, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And it could unintentionally hurt the people, who I love, who are my friends who are furries. I'm
That's
happy
fair.
to give you my opinions on things. But I think in public, like either helping you table or posting things on social media, I don't think I could publicly, support that way, if that makes sense.
That's fine. That's up to you.
Okay. I don't want you to be insulted by that, but I just want you to know I love you. But because I love you, I disagree with the idea of making people hate you because, I don't know, personally I think you're a really cool person, and I don't know, if you put your effort towards something else, I think you could be more successful. But I also see that you've put a lot of effort toward this, so I don't know, your life, live it how you like, I guess.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the input. Thank you.
You're welcome. I am excited to see you, though, tomorrow. I've missed you a lot.
That's going to be good. Where do you want to eat?
I don't know. I just had pizza. I don't want to eat pizza because I've had pizza for 2 days and now I'm stuffed. So literally anything other than pizza, you can pick.
Okay.
Or you can tell me what types of food you like, and I'll do research on what to eat.
Okay. Sounds good.
Sweet. So I'll just call me tomorrow when you guys have, the car packed and you're out of the motel and or whenever you're ready to go set up at the Arch. And Michael can drop me off down there. And then I'll drive down there, and then I'll go to my friend's house, and then run the errands I gotta do. And then whenever you're packed up and you're back in your car, let me know, and then I can come down there again.
Okay.
I might be a
Sounds good.
little later because I'm going over to this girl's house at 7 to do the Miss Universe watch party with them.
Sounds
But
like
it goes
fun.
on to midnight, and I don't have to stay up there. I'll just stay till 8 or 9 or something.
Okay. Sounds like fun.
Okay, I love you. Please call us if you're in an emergency or, a text when you finally arrive. Just tell me you're safe.
Okay, will do.
Okay. Can do.
I love you both. Be careful driving, okay?
Will do.
All right, love you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So, we make millions off crypto. We have a nonprofit. And then we donate what would be taxed. We would donate a deer. We donate what would have been taxed to our nonprofit. And then the nonprofit gives me a tax receipt. I turn around, hand that tax receipt to the accountant and say, here's my charitable donations for the year.
Mm-hmm. It's the way the rich do it. There's no reason we can't do it the same way.
We made 20 million. It's 15. I think capital gains is what, 15%?
Generally, it can go up as high as 20, but generally 15 or 20 is what it is.
Okay, so we take 20% of the crypto. Okay, what's 20% of 20 million?
Well, 20% of 1 million would be 200,000. And then if we multiply that by 20, that would be, let's see, it would be 4 million, I think.
Okay. Oh, now the charity has 4 million. Convenient.
Well, that's not the way that it works with tax deductions, my dear. That would be if it was a tax credit, not a tax deduction.
Okay.
So a tax credit reduces the number of dollars that you have to pay in tax. A tax deduction reduces the number of dollars that you have to pay tax on.
Okay. Either way, you're still paying less taxes.
Correct.
That's what I'm getting And the nonprofit now has an endowment of 4 million or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yep.
Again, that's why I pay. This is why we pay accountants, because I don't give a shit.
Correct.
Just get it done.
Correct.
Just tell me what needs to get done. And don't pest me with this bullshit.
Mm-hmm. I feel the same way.
Don't pester me. I have better things to do.
Stop pestering me!
If you say, oh, this, just make it happen. Thank you. Next question. Bye. Well, donate what we need to reduce the taxes. Actually, there is about a half dozen mechanisms that you can use in combination with each other that make virtually no taxes. But from there, you have to have the right kind of IRAs set up, which reduces the taxes you pay. Charitable donations reduces the taxes you pay. Different business expenses. Again, there's like a half dozen mechanisms that work in synergy with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember all of them, but you like min-maxing everything. I'm sure we can figure it out.
That's the plan.
I'd love to be like Donald Trump, you know. No, he doesn't pay anything in taxes yet, and here's why.
Mm-hmm.
Just be Donald Trump, but smarter.
Exactly.
Be Donald Trump, but learn it the hard way.
Mm-hmm. I liked the way that one of the people said it on the call. They said I was doing a reverse Trump.
Yeah.
I like that. Because, one, it describes it accurately, and two, whenever there is a reaction in politics, there's whenever there's an action, there's an equal opposite reaction. So, we had Bush, and then we had Obama. And then we had Trump. And then we had Biden. Like, it's all cyclical.
You mean Newton's third laws of physics applies to the entire world?
Mm-hmm.
In everything?
Yep.
Getting back to the theory that I was working on the other night that we just couldn't record.
Okay.
Here's my thoughts.
Okay.
And now that I've had a little bit of time to think about it. Okay, so follow me on this trail.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Let me, All right, go ahead.
Okay, so if your computer, if this is a simulation,
Mm-hmm.
then the computer that you use interacts with millions of websites every day. Now, what's operating in the background of your computer 24/7? Antivirus software.
Okay.
What is that antivirus software there? It's to protect you, similar to an immune system.
Mm-hmm.
So your computer has its own built-in immune system. That's just gotten far more advanced and far more diverse with the amount of spam viruses and whatnot that's out there. We haven't had a big computer virus
Mm-hmm.
in a long time. We've had major systems within the computer networks go down, such as major payment systems.
Mm-hmm.
So, we can influence the Matrix. Literally, we can influence the Matrix through computer software.
Okay.
Similar to how human beings can be influenced by physical viruses.
It's an interesting way to look at it.
That's why we live in a dual reality of base reality and simulated reality. Because what happens online is all simulated reality.
That's true.
And we've become a far more interconnected society in the last 10 years and 20 years.
Right. an interesting thought. I like it.
Yes. And what you and I are doing are interacting with reality itself.
Well, most people don't have the ability to change significant aspects of their lives on a day-to-day basis. On a day-to-day basis, most people are just progressing through, based on whatever choices they've made in the past. Oftentimes, based on whatever choices other people have made for them in the past. And so, this is part of my test of simulation theory, is how much can I change my circumstances? How can I become the President of the United States? If so, then it, in my opinion, based on the understanding of the research that I have, it would be, at least theoretically, easier to affect a simulated reality than it would be to affect a base reality.
Well, I disagree with you.
Okay.
Affecting a simulated reality, easy, just to inject a new piece of code.
Mm-hmm.
If it was completely simulated, you can have all your bots do all your work for you, have all the bots manage all the money, basically use robots.
Sure.
Which, that's what we had back in the day. In the 1800s. They had staffs of people to take care of most of that stuff for them.
Okay.
We've had to reinvent the staff. We've had to reinvent the wizard-like technology that we have nowadays. Because most wizards back in the day would usually have apprentices working for them. And they would be the master, taking care of the really big stuff, and then the apprentices would be taking care of the little stuff. We haven't gone anywhere on the wheel. We're just moving on this little wheel of ours. So, the true way to break the simulation would be to step off of it, take a look around, and see what else we can influence. So, you're right. I want to see how far we can take this little party. This D&D party of whoever comes along with us.
Right.
And yes, we will be interacting with different communities, and we'll be deciding. The question then lies, who gives us the right to decide what's good and bad for the individual communities? Who's put us in charge of being judge, jury, and execution?
Right.
So, I know you're fine with it. Personally, at this point, yes, I'm a furry. Yes. But there's a lot of bad that can happen. Some people are going to lose their jobs, and there's going to be some people. There's going to be problems. We are going to create problems for others. But that's life.
The only way to have a 100% chance of avoiding causing problems for people
Is to not do it.
is to do nothing. Right. And the simple fact is that if, as a human collective, every single person does nothing about these problems that the world has, including things like climate change, education, these really big problems.
Let me sum this up in a sentence.
Sure.
For evil to prevail, it takes good men to do nothing.
I couldn't agree more.
And we are recording, right? So, audience, if you see evil in this world, do something. Say something.
Right.
Make a choice. Yes, you can't rewind your choices. Unfortunately, that's not how this world works. You have to move forward. But if you see something, say something.
Right.
As I pass the mic back to you. It has a set playbook of do's and don'ts, similar to a chart that you would use to diagnose a problem in a vehicle back in the day.
Yep.
So with the tax lien investing, there's pros and cons to that.
Sure.
Can we look at the pros and cons for tax lien investing?
Okay. The internet appears to not be working very well here, so I can see if we can do that now. If not, we'll do it at a later time.
Okay. Because that's something we should go through.
Okay. Pros and cons of tax lien investing. No data connection. Okay. We'll do it later.
But that is something that we need to look into.
I agree.
And other investment strategies that are backed up by a federal government are going to be far safer and far more secure than anything in the stock market, anything in crypto. So, I'm thinking that should be our long-term focus.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm not a huge fan on blue chips myself. There's not enough to gain from it.
Right. 10%? Not enough.
Well, the problem with blue chips is they don't go anywhere. They're a blue chip for a reason. There's too little risk involved.
Interesting.
Now, if I had, for example, if I had the option between 100% risk, 50% risk, and 0% risk, I'd want the 50% risk.
Sure. I can definitely see that based on your personality, yeah.
I don't want the 100% risk because too much risk equals too many variables.
Fair enough.
0% risk means there's 0 variables to be had. By the looks of it, from what I've seen so far, bonds, 50% risk. You know, it's a 50% chance the U.S. gets invaded and overthrown in a weekend. You know?
Okay. You would have to convince me of that, but okay.
I'm exaggerating, my dear, for comedic effect.
Okay.
But what I'm saying... Okay, to put it in a less comedic fashion, stuff like bonds, stuff dealing directly with the individual states or individual counties, those have a degree of risk to it, such as either you get the property or you don't, but when you get the property, then you have to deal with these other things. As opposed to, I'm just going to throw all my money into the stock market and see what happens. I'm going to throw all my money into I'm going to throw all of my money into crypto and see what happens. That is too high a risk level for that kind of investment. Because, like you've said, most people don't understand how the crypto market works. Most people don't understand what crypto is. Crypto has no real no real outlet to utilize the assets that you obtain.
No real way to utilize the assets you obtain.
Yeah.
Well, most people don't care. And in addition...
That's the problem, because most people don't care, therefore, if there's a outlet for the asset to be used, then there is a reason to trade it. There is a reason... Even Pokemon cards, take Pokemon cards.
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon cards have several functions, as well as a monetary value behind each card.
Sure.
Most cards have a value of a couple cents.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have the really rare ones that are worth a lot more. But you can use them, trade them to each other, or you can use them to battle each other in a game.
Fair enough.
So, that's the thing. Crypto has no utility uses to it.
Oh.
That's the problem with the market, is there's no utility use to the thing. You can't use it to pay your bills. Oh, it's worth $10,000. What do you do with it? It sits there on a screen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at the very least, you could have bonds. Yeah, there are pieces of paper. What can you do with it? Well, I can put it on my wall. I can get money back for it. Again, crypto has no utility use.
Mm-hmm. That is one of the biggest problems, yeah.
For me, it's like, oh, it went up by $100. Okay. Now what? I'm still down from where I started.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm down from my ultimate highs. Ultimate high was about 1,500.
Mm-hmm.
And it's down to like 600 now.
Right.
And simply waiting around for a coin to go up in value. Okay. It's like asking a US dollar to go up in value. It's meaningless.
That's a fair point.
I would love to see Shiba go up to like $3.
Jesus Christ. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I'd sell.
I would hope so. At $3 per coin.
Uh-huh.
I would hope.
I'd sell. And then basically just pull crypto out of the ether for the rest of our lives.
That's the plan.
I'm not sure how taxes work on crypto. Does anyone know how taxes work on crypto?
Well, that's for our tax account to figure out.
For now, we just state we don't have any.
Well, the way that it works is the same way that it works with any other investment. You know, the value of a house doesn't increase in an objective way. You know, whether something is worth $1 or $100,000 is purely arbitrary because it's only a mental calculation.
Mm-hmm.
It's only real when you convert it into money.
Yeah. And with most stocks, you don't pay capital gains until you pull it out.
Correct.
Is that the same thing with crypto?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So
There are always exceptions when it comes to tax rules because it's so complicated, but generally speaking, yes.
okay. So we're good until we take it out.
Mm-hmm. Again, we'll double check with our tax accountant just to make sure, but that's my understanding.
Okay.
Putting people in. my perspective is, and I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, that's fine. I think that they don't fully understand what's going on. I mean, they only learned of it an hour ago, 2 hours ago, whatever. Because she said, for example, that sounded like a spoof, which means that I did not do a very good job of video editing, because it's not supposed to look like a spoof. But this is why I released the trailer beforehand, before it goes big to the entire world, because clearly the message that is going across to Sophie and the lady that I showed it to at Oplan and stuff like that is not the message that I was trying to send.
Okay.
If the message that people are receiving is it's a spoof, he doesn't look guilty, then that is not the correct thing that I'm trying to get across. What I'm trying to get across is this person raped a dog to death.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that guy's listening to Shaggy. To add to your point, and that one problem that I've been having for all these years is making Furry Valley guilty. Putting them in a light that gets the point across.
right.
Which can only be done, and has only been successful on the one-to-one basis. And then I convince that one person, and then I convince a couple more. And then we had a small coalition of maybe 5 people in total to bring down hellfire on Furry Valley. Which instigated more fire. And yes, I have been instrumental in the spreading of the word of Furry Valley being terrible. But that was not a controversial fight to be had. It was everybody had their story. Everybody knew about it.
Okay.
But again, that's like getting into the weeds. It's like getting into the seedy bars. Which I only had minimal success.
Right.
So, this fight that we're trying to take on is difficult because putting someone in a guilty light without setting the entire fandom on fire in the process is difficult.
So this is something that I think is good for me to clarify to you specifically. I don't care if the furry fandom burns to the ground. Because I know that the people at the top, including people like Majira, Kiro, Dogpatch, several of the convention organizers that I know, etc., are people who, while, even Kiro, as terrible as his actions were, he's not a bad, he has done many, many bad things.
Yes.
Many, many unconscionable things. Many things that I condemn in the strongest possible terms. But it is a fact that he is nice to his friends. He is fun to hang out with if you don't know that he's an animal rapist. People contain multitudes.
I know.
And the simple fact is that if the furry fandom is elevating these people to the top positions of power, then it should be taken down a peg.
Yes.
In addition, something that I was talking about with somebody yesterday is that if the, true, quote-unquote, if the true furries take a really hard stance of we are not okay with zoophilia in our community, and everybody knows, if, hypothetically speaking, okay, let's assume that every person in America learns about this story. That's not going to happen, but let's assume that it did, okay?
We get our Oprah.
Uh,
Ellen would take us.
Probably. I don't know. If every person in America learns about this story, and there's two main ways that I think it could go.
Yep.
Either people go, oh wow, they're all zoophiles, they're all terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Or they go, oh, well, you know, just like with any group, you're going to have people that do bad things.
Correct.
You don't stop being a Catholic because the Catholic Pope in the 15th century had 18 wives and snorted the equivalent of cocaine back in the day.
Correct.
Like, there are always going to be people that you disagree with in whatever group that you're in. So I think what will happen, and what I am trying to make happen, is 99.9% of furries denounce zoophilia, and that will make the public perception of furries better rather than worse.
To add to that point, just to play devil's advocate.
Sure.
Say the gamble doesn't work and we manage to basically I don't think this is possible. I think the furry fandom will take a blow from this if it goes public.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the furries are terrified about, because they don't want their little, niche of the internet burning down.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing everything in their power to denounce us.
Correct.
Because they're only thinking of the short-term games. They're thinking of the short-term possibilities.
Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons for that is because most of the people in the furry fandom are under the age of 25.
Uh-huh.
So the idea of what will happen in 5 years, the vast majority of people under the age of 25 don't give a shit.
What's going to happen in 5 years? Exactly. Are all the conventions going to be shut down?
No. And if the public... Okay, so the public perception could be, if we get it wrong, again, assuming that it goes viral, which it could, or it may just stay small, who knows? If it goes viral,
Yeah?
the outcome I'm trying to avoid is people going, oh, furries are terrible people. I hate furries. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to direct it to furries are very strongly anti-zoophilia. So that puts 99% of the furries on the same side as the general public.
Yes.
Because the general public is also against zoophilia.
Correct. Again, it's a gamble. I have my friends in this world.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a shit about others most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very low empathy person. Shocker.
Mm-hmm.
Makes journalism really easy when you don't care about them. Being
And
a journalists aren't high empathy people.
oh god, no. Why do you think people hate journalists so much?
They're so low empathy.
It's a fair point. And the simple fact is that if it takes burning the furry fandom to the ground to get Kiro put in jail, that is a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Furry fandom will rebuild.
Correct.
It's rebuilt itself before.
Many times.
It's rebuilt itself before, and it will rebuild itself again.
Mm-hmm.
The conventions will still be a thing.
Yep.
People are doing a very good job of making the conventions as controversial as humanly possible. They're very good at burning themselves to the ground. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
So if he doesn't condone the actions, I personally don't care.
Exactly.
We're the onceler.
Exactly.
How much is too much?
What would... that is a perfect example, okay? What would the old onceler, or what would the Lorax be willing to do to save the trees?
Mm-hmm.
You know, not the kid onceler, the old guy. You know, what are they willing to do? Because, you know, in my opinion, based on my reading of the story, if the Lorax had an AK and could gun down the onceler to save the trees, he would have fucking done it.
Yes.
That's my opinion.
Well, that's the thing. How much is too much? Which is good for the economy? Is it good business sense? Should you fire 100,000 workers?
Right.
Just because your stock price spikes doesn't mean that you shouldn't think about others. You have to keep it all in perspective. Which, this one fucking book gives so many more morals than anything else I've ever fucking read.
Which book?
The Lorax.
Oh!
It's a cautionary tale. It's full of morals. And no matter how many times you read it, no matter what age you are,
right,
you can reread it and then think about it, have a conversation, read it a few years later, and take a different page from it, and it's a different scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the scenario is how far is too far?
Exactly.
Are we willing to burn down the entire furry fandom?
I am. I
are.
hope that's not necessary, but I am willing to do it.
You are, but at what cost?
Right.
I have lost mostly every friend I had in the furry fandom at this point.
Really?
Yeah. I have lost.
Sorry to hear that.
Basically, there's a few holdouts, but I've lost just about anyone that I would have considered a friend. But on the other hand, I've matured massively. I'm busy doing other things.
Right.
I have some presence online, but it's nowhere near what it was 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Or what it was 5 years ago. In the last 2 years, we've been a little bit preoccupied.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's fair.
Again, you can look at these tryhards and just, you can look at these tryhards and say, oh, you're trying too hard, you're making this unfun. And you can say it and not give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because those that have figured it out, those that have figured out that, yeah, it's a video game.
Exactly.
It's not reality, it's a video game.
The only thing that matters is what people believe.
Mm-hmm. And if people believe that they're the best in their world, they're stuck in their own little world.
Mm-hmm.
Which I've started to become frustrated with, and I've called people out on it. And they don't like it when I call them out.
Right. They certainly don't.
Oh, well. I've alienated a fair number of people through my actions.
Mm-hmm.
I already know the cost. I already know the price that we're gonna pay.
What do you mean?
Not the literal price, but the loss of friendships that we're gonna have. There's going to be a mounting there's going to be blood on both sides of what we do, of friends and foes. Because the road we walk is that of controversy. The road we walk is that of, quite frankly, the road we have decided to walk is the road less traveled.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to pick and choose who we confide in completely and not completely.
Right.
Like my mother. I'm not telling my mother everything that I'm going to do.
Okay.
I'll keep her out of it. Because my mother has specifically said to keep her out of it.
Fair enough. That's her decision.
And it falls on me, and it falls on us to become financially wealthy enough to pursue these actions.
Well, keep in mind that, I don't know exactly how long it'll take, but the current estimate is February. That we'll get a large settlement. So, the financial possibilities for us are growing by the day.
Yes. Which means as much research and as much education as we can get. And we're back from our radio break. Now, with climate change, the Earth's climate is going to change if we like it or not. We've seen this in California. Geniuses in California, you decide to live in the desert. Good job. Good thinking.
Right.
Californians, you guys need to make a choice. Is living in California worth your time? Worth the effort? Worth the mismanagement of your governors? How have you not chosen to protest this, quite frankly, I'm trying to find words to describe the levels of incompetency that you guys have managed to bring upon yourself and the rest of the country in one fell swoop. You guys have single-handedly managed to raise your own taxes. Good job. Mismanaged your own land. Good job.
Right.
You've cut out 10% of your transport logistics fleet. Good job. You've managed to break your own logistic chains on your own.
These are not the chains that we wanted to break. We wanted to break the chains of labor.
Exactly. Free the establishment. Break your chains. Oh, except that, what about that big chain over there that's driving the engine? Break that too! We're geniuses! We're mad because the Earth's warming! And we have broccoli on our pizza! Whoa! What about all the homeless people that are, defecating on sidewalks? Is that not acceptable? What about all the ships out in the middle of your ocean releasing carbon? Is that not acceptable? Oh, but it's clearly the truck drivers have to be punished because they're the lifeblood of this nation. What happens when you apply a tourniquet to a paper cut? What happens to the human body when you try and use such a drastic measure for a paper cut?
I don't know.
What happens?
You tell me?
Well, when you apply a tourniquet to a part of the body, it cuts off all the blood supply. Genius! Reminds me of my mother's old joke. Well, you have a paper cut. Well, guess we're gonna have to amputate. We're gonna have to cut it off. It's a paper cut. Okay. Again, we're applying tourniquets and we're applying ICU level care to really basic problems. Really simple problems, such as, okay, the diesel engine. What are we putting in the diesel engine for fuel? It's not the engine that's the problem. It's the fuel source. Arguably, it's not even the fuel source. It's the mode of transportation. Well, it's not the mode of transportation. Well, what is the problem? It's the problem is the elites don't have control. The elites want control. They are losing control by the minute. With each passing day, they don't even have control of their own party. They do not have control of their own party. How do you expect them to have control over the nation? How do you expect them to have control when things do go south? What's the answer then? Who are you going to turn to?
Ghostbusters.
Correct. But, no, seriously, America. Who is going to save you when law is lawless? How are you going to survive?
Right.
Who are you going to turn to? Do you have a plan? Do you have a second plan? Because the first plan probably isn't going to go very well.
Right.
Who? What? Where? When? And how? Have you asked yourself those questions lately? I'm talking to everyone everywhere. Who? Who are you going to talk to? How are you guys going to get it done? Where are you guys going to go? How are you guys going to survive? When the politicians have hidden themselves away, when the politicians have stopped picking up the phone, when there's people asleep at the wheel of this nation, when the leader's asleep, who's gonna man the ship? Who's gonna man the guns? Who's gonna do it? You? You're just as disorganized. Who are you gonna look for? The Republicans can't hold their own. They can't even hold a civil debate. For God's sakes.
Can't even elect a speaker.
They can't even elect a speaker.
Right?
You kidding me? Democrats. Which way is your party going? No, seriously, Democrats. Which way do you want this party to go?
Right.
This noble party of Democrats. What are you guys doing? You got a dementia-ridden narcoleptic, you got a dementia-ridden narcoleptic octogenarian in the White House. He can't even keep track of his own top-secret documents. What? How? The country elected Joe Biden because they thought Joe Biden was going to be the savior, the voice of reason in an unreasonable time. Guess what? You chose wrong, America.
Right.
You chose wrong with Donald Trump. You chose wrong with Joe Biden. You've chose wrong twice in a row. What are we going to do to fix this mess? Can we fix this mess? At what cost do we have to save the planet? Oh, we have to save the planet. You know who has some of the lowest carbon emissions in the entire world? South Africa. What about Ethiopia? What about Haiti? They're not creating a lot of carbon emissions. But have you seen those countries? Not much going on, is there? Not much progressing forward, is there? Some of the countries that are creating the most amount of carbon emissions. China. Well, compare those two. Just compare those two nations. What do they have in common? What are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? What about the U.S.? What are we doing right? We're sitting here arguing with each other. Meanwhile, we're bringing immigrants in by the hundreds, by the millions. We don't know what to do with them. We don't know what the plan is. We don't even have a plan.
Right.
We're holding them up in skyscrapers in New York. And you know what? You know what's happening in New York? These skyscrapers, these giant hotels they have.
Mm-hmm.
Reports are coming out, and you can fact check this yourself, but the reports are that they're making a mess of the place. They're pretty much destroying these hotel rooms. They're not eating the food they're being given because they don't want to eat the type of food that we give them. They're asking for beans and rice, and we're giving them broccoli and ham and cheese sandwiches and stuff. We're not even listening to what they want. From all reports. That was it. I'm going off of a New York Times article that I saw.
Yeah, this is the first I've heard of it.
New reports came out just the other day.
Mm.
And we can go fact check these reports, and we will be fact checking these reports, but things are a mess in New York right now. Things are a mess around the country.
Right.
Now, I believe in immigration. I believe in people finding a better way to get things done. I believe in new thoughts, new ideas, new ways of doing things. America. But, you know what I don't believe in? Lying to the American populace. Pretending like it's all good, all fine, all good, bro. Nothing to see here. If the state of the nation is a mess, our president should have the ability and intestinal fortitude to say, America, this is a mess. I'm calling on each and every one of you.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do as a collective to fix it? What can we do as a collective? Let's have a civil conversation about it. Arguing and being hardliners left and right, that's not getting us anywhere. That's not doing anything for us as a nation. Do you have something to add?
What?
You have something to add?
Oh, I'm sorry, my dear. I was just falling asleep.
No.
You have some excellent points. I don't really have anything to add at the moment.
Okay, off to our next topic. Which is